Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Ontario Time Attack e-racing series, Overtake the Apex, for event number 5. Overtake the Apex is presented to you by Ontario Time Attack. As Ontario's premier grassroots time attack series, we love driving anything from straight out of the showroom cars all the way to purpose-built track machines. Come out and race against the clock with us. Find out more at time-attack.ca, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Ontario Time Attack to keep up with our announcements. If you enjoy watching these videos, please help us out by giving us a like and smashing that subscribe button on the bottom right corner of the screen. Don't forget to hit the bell button to be alerted of new content on this channel as well. Many thanks to our partner and server host for tonight's event, Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy. Operating out of Toronto Motorsports Park, they are a private track school that caters to both newbies who have never been to the racetrack, all the way to folks who participate in Time Attack and want more critical feedback to cut down those lap times. Check them out on Instagram at Pinnacle Driving Academy and their website, www.pinnacledriving.com, for more details. Don't forget to sign up using promo code SPRING25 before the end of April to receive $25 off. That's $25 off if you use promo code SPRING25. Ontario Time Attack is proudly sponsored by Automoves, dependable vehicle shipping, Toyo Tires, NV Auto, build, tune, race, repeat, GRP, Johnston Research and Performance, Mobile One. With 20 years of supporting OTA, we couldn't have made it where we are today without you, Mobile One. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And now for a quick public service announcement.
COVID-19 is a serious public health threat. All Canadians must act now to reduce the spread. Avoid crowded places and practice social distancing. Avoid non-essential travel and stay home as much as possible. Self-isolate if you may have been exposed to COVID-19. Stay connected with neighbors, friends, and family. When you take care of yourself, you take care of others.
A message from the Government of Canada.
Tonight's main event schedule is as follows. There's 30 minutes of practice time, which our drivers are currently in, followed by 15 minutes of qualifying time. Based on qualifying time, the drivers grid from fastest to slowest and given 15 minutes of race time for race number 1. Race number 2 will occur immediately thereafter, but this time drivers grid in reverse order based on the finishing order in the first race up to the 10th position. So if you finish first in race number 1, you start in 10th place for race number 2. Finish second in race number 1 means you'll start in 9th place for race number 2. As you can see in our points distribution chart on the right, points in the first race weigh more than the second race to prevent sandbagging. Being a time attack series, we also award points for top 3 qualifying times. For those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari, also known as Imola. When you talk about racing and Italians, the connection runs deep, being the home country for storied manufacturers such as Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Alfa Romeo to name a few. To house and maintain such a stable of prized horses, one must have the best when it comes to playgrounds. While most people will think of the bigger brother, that is Autodromo di Monza, its younger sibling just over 250 kilometers southeast is the city of Imola, home to what is now known as the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari. Unseating the incumbent is no easy task, however, and potentially comes at a cost. In 1980, whilst Monza was undergoing refurbishment, the city of Imola capitalized on the chance to host the Formula One Italian Grand Prix with its existing 5-kilometer circuit it had had since the 50s, albeit with multiple heavy changes. This inaugural event was such a success that despite the home team of Scuderia Ferrari not being able to podium, Imola cemented a spot in the F1 calendar from thereafter known as the San Marino Grand Prix. This gave Italy the glorious prestige of hosting 2 Formula One events per year, and for the people of Imola, it just seemed like the good times would never end. Fast forward to 1994. A young German driver by the name of Michael Schumacher driving for Benetton was in the lead for the World's Drivers' Championship with 20 points. Behind him by quite a distance was Jordan driver Rubens Barrichello with 7 points and Damon Hill hot on Rubens' heels with 6 points. Whilst 3-time Drivers' Champion Ayrton Senna was nowhere on the point sheets for the year, everyone knew better than to count out the Brazilian. However, it proved to be a different Brazilian that would first capture everyone's attention, and not in a good way. Warning. From here on in, viewer discretion is strongly advised. We're about to walk through one of the worst events Formula One would ever see, with 3 crashes and 2 deaths. Please avoid the next 6 minutes if you do not wish to watch this. You have been warned. On Friday, April 29th, during the first of 2 qualifying sessions, Rubens Barrichello would hit the curb at the Variante Bassa corner at 225 km per hour and go airborne before hitting the top of the tire barrier and rolling several times afterwards. With an estimated impact at 95 Gs, he was found unconscious and was initially treated at the circuit's medical center before being flown out to Maggiore Hospital in Bologna. Senna, in the meantime, had posted the fastest qualifying time of 1 minute 21.548 seconds in just 1 qualifying session, cementing the notion that he had finally gotten a car to his liking. Schumacher, on the same day, could only muster a 122.015. The fight was on. Just 20 minutes into the final qualifying session of the weekend, first-time F1 driver Roland Ratzenberger was presumed to have damaged his front wing in a previous lap, but rather than return to the pit lane, he opted for another lap. Little did he know that this severely reduced his ability to control the car, and he would fail to negotiate the Villeneuve curva. He went on to collide with the opposing concrete wall almost head-on. The speed of the impact was so great, his car would slide all the way down Villeneuve and almost into the next turn. As rescue personnel arrived on the scene, they found the safety cell mostly intact, but his driver unresponsive. Medical examiners would later determine that he had suffered multiple heavy injuries, but most importantly, a basal skull fracture was determined to be the cause of death. It was F1's first fatality since 1982. Ayrton Senna was devastated. The then head of F1 on-track medical team, Professor Sid Watkins, recalls the Brazilian driver broke down and cried. Senna would not go back out for a second qualifying stint. The next day, despite Watkins' persuasion towards Senna to not race, Senna replied, "Sid, there are certain things over which we have no control. I cannot quit. I have to go on." Almost literally right off the drop of the flag, the main race encountered its first disruption when J.J. Leto's Benetton car stalled on the grid, and Pedro Lamy, who started further back, drove into him. Parts of the car went flying over the safety wall and caused minor injuries to 9 people. This incident caused a safety car to be deployed, whose concept for F1 at the time was only introduced a year earlier in 1993. At the drivers' meeting prior to the race, Senna along with Gerhard Berger had raised concerns about the car's ability to maintain speeds that F1 cars would need to keep their tires hot. The car? An Opel Vectra. Senna was seen pulling alongside it several times, urging the driver to increase his speed. However, it was later found out that the car's brakes had overheated and was fading on its first lap, forcing the driver to reduce his speed or else risk the safety car, causing an accident. Once the track was cleared of debris on lap 5, the race was restarted. 2 laps in, with Senna leading Schumacher, this happened. First arrivers would go on to say years after they knew there was nothing they could do for Senna. The public, however, was kept in the dark. The official record stated his time of death was 2:17 p.m., when he was officially still on the track. Italian legislation stipulates that when a death takes place during a sporting event, it should be immediately halted and the area sealed off for examination. Whether it was a combination of confusion, incompetence, or ignorance, the race would go on and Schumacher would win the event.
Certainly no good feelings. I mean, just win a race, but I can't feel satisfied. I can't feel happy. I mean, what happened this weekend, never have seen something like this. Not just one thing, so many things. The only thing I can say about this is I hope we learn from this. I think there is a lot to learn from, and we have to use this. And things like this, they shouldn't happen without taking the experience from it.
And learned they would. In just 2 hours and 20 minutes afterwards, the world will find out about Senna's fate. F1 would never be the same again. This darkest day in F1 history would ignite resolve to spearhead the single biggest safety movement of all motorsports, from safety equipment such as the head and neck restraint system, HANS, to various car redesigns, organizational changes, and the biggest one of them all, track changes, the trickiest objective to handle without losing the fans and the drivers. The 1994 Imola layout, used since 1981, would never again be used. The infamous Tamburello turn that claimed Senna would be converted from a fast left-hand sweeper into a much slower chicane, which we now see today. On a happier note, what better way to check out Ferrari's home track than the 2011 Ferrari 458 GT2? As a replacement for the F430, it was originally unveiled at the 2009 Frankfurt Motor Show. The GT2 is a racing variant and loses the flex splitter found in road cars in favor for a more conventional inlet with the air exiting through the louvers in the hood. Due to new restrictor regulations, the 4.5-liter V8 engine only puts about 470 horsepower, which is 100 horsepower less than the road car, but maintains almost exact same torque at 520 Nm. Whilst the rev limiter allows the engine to sing all the way up to 8,500 RPM, it doesn't quite make sense to push it past 7,500 RPM due to a steep drop-off in torque delivery. Up until the 6,800 RPM mark, this engine has a sweet linear power delivery and offers consistent and reliable torque rise, with 77% of it delivered at just 2,000 RPM. Similar to the Exige last week, this Ferrari has a mid-engine layout and is equipped with a Hewland 6-speed sequential manual transmission. At only 1,245 kilos, this car is capable of hitting 270 km per hour, or 168 miles per hour, with a weight-to-power ratio of 2.65 kilos per horsepower. The car itself has a truly impressive racing record, winning the 2012 and 2014 24 Hours of Le Mans, the 2012 12 Hours of Sebring, and 2 editions of the Petit Le Mans back-to-back in 2011 and 2012. In 2011, the 458 Italia GT2 took the Intercontinental Le Mans Cup GTE manufacturers and the GTE Pro Team titles, the Le Mans Series GTE manufacturers and the GTE Pro Team and Drivers Honors, and the International GT Open Overall and Super GT Team and Drivers Crowns. With the creation of the FIA-managed World Championship, the car would go on to dominate for 3 years in a row, the FIA World Endurance Championship taking the manufacturers and Pro Team titles for 2012, 2013, and 2014. With the end of its reign in 2015, the car was replaced for the 2016 season by the Ferrari 488 GTE. Welcome to Turn by Turn at Autodromo Enzo Idino Ferrari. I'm your host, Kevin Wong, the Chief Timer of Ontario Time Attack. Let's go for one hot lap around Imola circuit. Being the home circuit of Scuderia Ferrari, our drivers will rip down the main front straight past the Prancing Horse pits and steamroll into the signature turn of the track, Variante del Tamburello, or Tamburello chicane. The key to navigating this segment will be the full usage of the curbing without going beyond the track limits and hitting the grass. Flying down the second straight, our driver will have a small moment to contemplate the career of famous Canadian driver Gilles Villeneuve, to which the second chicane they'll be arriving at is named after. Our drivers will then jump out of that segment and into the famous Tosa corner, and once again determine how much they can creep out past the curbing to maximize that exit speed. A small uphill climb awaits them before flattening out and leading to a somewhat gentle left-hander known as Piratella, the outside of which has sand traps and will potentially be a high-risk corner for anyone caught understeering on exit. Surviving that segment will quickly lead into the Acqua Minerale right-hander, formerly chicane, and up a small hill onto a pleasant straight. This will then lead to the Variante Alta, which is equipped with heavy curbs should you cut too deep into each of chicane's apexes and potentially send the car flying. Doing that will lose a lot of speed for the next flat-out section, and it's quite possible we will see position changes here tonight. But before that, our drivers still have one last corner, or is it two, to navigate. The two-turn corner that is Rivazza awaits them, and should our drivers find their tires or skill waning, the second turn can easily win or lose a race. Clearing Rivazza will ultimately lead down the front straight and past the start-finish line. There you have it, folks. One hot lap around Imola. Don't forget, for next week's event, I have a very special guest who will take us turn by turn around Sebring International Raceway, our final event for the season. He's a Canadian and former Indy kart driver who will be dishing out the secrets of Sebring. Can you guess what it is? Put your answer in the comments below or hit us up on our post on Instagram. Before we jump in with our drivers, let's check out our series standings with just 2 events left to go. Event number 4 saw season's point leader, Val Di Pietro, return for his 3rd pennant for the fastest lap around Silverstone. However, it would be Doug Newman who would go on to take his first win for the season in race number 1. Jordan Mazzugli managed to almost keep pace and lock down 2nd place, while season points leader Val Di Pietro rounded out the podium in 3rd place. Race number 2 would see Di Pietro take the win, with Monza star Steven Yagovin taking 2nd place, followed by Andrew Davis. With this, Di Pietro managed to maintain some distance atop the season standings with 122 points, and Mazzugli's gains at Silverstone puts him at 78 points. Yagovin is further back at 53 points, followed by Nathan Hodgins at 40 points, and Daniel Kokar at 38 points. Joseph Yang is hot on Kokar's tail at a striking distance of 31 points, trying to get onto the top 5 for the year. Gilbert Kaya, Doug Newman, Shane Shepard are still within striking distance from 7th to 9th place respectively. 10th place currently has a tie between Andrew Davis and Filippo Oliveira from drivermod.ca. With only 2 events left, are we going to see a massive push from Mazzugli? Will Yang overthrow Kokar for 5th? Will I finally remember everyone's names? Let's get on track and find out. Okay, folks, welcome aboard to event number 5. Here we are at Imola. So it looks like most of our drivers are pretty much on board. So for tonight, we've got Jordan Mazzugli, Doug Newman, Val Di Pietro, Joseph Yang, Michael Puchik, Justin Nell, Stefan Bullock, Miles Quartermine, Andrew Davis, Mitch Moran, Chris Pazinski is a newcomer for the e-racing series. He's our current OTA champion for 2019 in real life. Jackson De Oliveira, Phil Oliveira, Adrian Cesanaro, Jason Celli, Imani Makalad, Paul Todd, Samuel Sousa, Owen H. Looks like we still have a few people that will be joining us. Daniel Santibanez hasn't joined us, and Giuseppe Castelluno, I think, and Brady C hasn't joined us yet. So we're just going into the practice session, which is still got about just under 15 minutes left. So let's hop in with the drivers and see how they plan to tackle this course. Okay, currently on board with Philip Oliver from drivermod.ca. You should check them out. They are a blogging website. He's one of the chief writers. So currently tackling Imola. He's been a mainstay with our series since the beginning of the year. So driving the wonderfully colored car in the flowers configuration. OTA now accepts custom livery. So we've essentially arranged for all the drivers to have their own numbers and their custom livery uploaded to the server. So it just adds a little bit more fun for all the competitors and the viewers as well. If you guys in the live chat want us to focus on any of the specific drivers, let us know, and we can try to follow one of them. Up next is Justin L. I also believe, is a newcomer to the series. So welcome aboard, Justin. Let's hop in with a few laps with him going over through Aqua Minerale. Again, for those of you just joining us for the first time in the year, our drivers are currently in practice session. So while this is a spec series in terms of the night, so the drivers all drive the same car, they are not. They are allowed some minor adjustments like alignment and tire pressures and tire type, I believe. So this car actually allows for a lot of adjustment because it is a race car, GT2 variant. So there's quite a lot of adjustment allowed. So folks will be trying to come up with their own custom recipe. Oh, looks like someone went off in the dirt. Rivaza is an interesting turn because it's got two sections of it, and outside of it, as you just saw, is covered in sand. So it is the last corner before the final front straight. So I expect to see a lot of changes in positions happening in this final corner. On board now with Miles Quartermain. Miles has been with us for like at least 4 races, almost since the beginning of the year. Ooh, a little bit of tail happy action there. Going through Tosa corner. And nice clean exit. Full use of the curb. It's a little bit of a uphill straight that happens after Tosa. And that'll lead into a small chicane. Or Piratella rather, first. Before leading to Aqua Minerale. Another small straight. And then a slight left and a slight right into the final turn, Rivaza. Again, very nasty curbs there. Very nasty curbs there with the trying to prevent people from cutting the apex too deeply because it will send the car flying. But we'll see how people try to use that to their advantage in race conditions. For those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Imola, also known as Autodromo Enzo Idino Ferrari, home base for Scuderia Ferrari. Our drivers are competing in event number 5, so there's only one event left next week at Sebring International Raceway. So there's still a good fight for top 5 in our series points. So we'll see how everyone does. Again, for those of you returning to our series now accepts custom livery. So you'll see a lot of drivers actually in fancied up cars tonight. Let's hop in on board with Adrian Cesanaro. Again, folks, we're just in practice, so all the drivers are just getting used to the car, the setup, and the track. While this is a spec series, everyone is allowed a certain amount of adjustment, especially since this is a race car as opposed to a street car. There is a considerable amount of adjustment available in terms of alignment, tire pressures, and tire types. So you'll see everyone trying to come up with their own recipe for success here tonight. Going through the Variante Alta, or the Alta chicane, and essentially the second last straight before the last corner of the track, Rivazza. Rivazza is a two-turn corner, so as you notice on the right there's a lot of sand pits out there. So if you're pushing it way too hard, you're going to wind up in the sand and potentially lose the race. Oh, looks like Adrian is pitting, so we'll swap with drivers. Michael Puchik is just leaving the pits, so we can follow him. He's been with us for pretty much the entire season, so fresh new lap, fresh new car, fresh tires too, so we'll see how he does. Again, folks, for those just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Imola. Our competitors are currently in practice session, which means they're just getting used to the car, the track, and the times that you see on the left popping up there. That's simply practice times. That doesn't count towards gridding. Qualifying will begin at 8:30 Eastern, so there's just about 8 minutes left in this session. So I know the clock says 23 minutes, but we started the server a little bit late. But we should be switching over to qualifying in about 8 minutes. A beautiful purple car there, driven by Michael Puchik. Again, we now accept custom livery, so a few folks will be folks are allowed to pick their numbers and choose amongst the livery, and some folks have even submitted their own custom livery should they choose to spend the time to make their own. I believe that's Joseph Yang and Stefan Bullock will be driving the Trackside Autosport vehicles today. So we look forward to seeing that. Going through the Variante Alta, again, if you notice on the Variante Alta, there are some very, very steep curves on the apexes to prevent people from cutting the corner way too much. It will send the car flying, but you never know. Some people might try to take that path tonight. It is the last chicane before this Rivazza turn, which Michael is going through. A very tricky corner. You see, he got a little loose there. There is sand on the outside right corner on both after the first corner of Rivazza and the second one. So if you push too hard, you're going to wind up in the sand and potentially lose the race right there. Ooh, going a little messy. They're going through Tamburello. Tamburello is the infamous corner that killed Senna, or where Senna died rather. And ever since then they've changed it to a chicane. That 1994 configuration, as mentioned in the little spiel before the race, that has never been used ever since. That really nasty weekend in F1 really changed motorsports a long ways. Not introduction of the Hans. That created that gestated the design of the Hans, and also changed things with F1 in terms of capping the car power, in terms of the amount of error they could have, and in many ways Monza really hasn't quite been the same since, right? So a lot of track changes have come since 1994, and Monza as of 2016 I believe hasn't been on the F1 calendar since. They tried to actually bid for replacing the Chinese Grand Prix this year, but with the pandemic, that's kind of been put aside for now. We're on board here with Samuel Sousa. Let's see how he handles the last corner, Rivazza. As you notice on the exit there on Rivazza on the right-hand side, there's a lot of sand pits. So if you go a little too far wide out, you can potentially get stuck or really slow down there a lot. For those of you new to the series, in fact, welcome to event number 5. The thing you saw in the middle of the top screen there, that's an app called Helicorsa. What that allows our competitors to do is that it's essentially a mini radar that goes around the car and shows if there's competitors to your left, to your right. The thing with virtual racing is that unless you have a 3-monitor setup or virtual reality, you can't just simply look to your left or look to your right and see there's someone there. So the radar helps them gauge how close someone is to their left and to their right, and whether they can cut a corner or not. So you'll occasionally see the radar flash and show someone's onto immediate 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Going to Piratella, good use of the curve there. A lot of drivers tonight will be testing the track limits and finding out where the curb actually really ends and where the grass starts. So, going to be potentially seeing a lot of people try to sneak a little bit of speed on the exit and wind up hitting the grass. Tamburello is going to be especially crowded tonight because that will be first corner our drivers will see once they see once the lights go off to start the race. So, expecting a bit of carnage there, but we'll see how good our drivers will do. With just 3 minutes left in practice, again, for folks just joining us, this is just practice, so our drivers are simply getting used to the car, the track, and the setups. Oh, and Samuel's getting a little loose there. We're just going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors. Welcome back, folks. We're now on board with season points leader Val Di Pietro in his wonderful green Ferrari 458 GT2. For those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Imola, also known as Autodromo Enzo Idino Ferrari. So we're again, if you're new to our series, we're currently in practice time. So what that means is our drivers are simply getting used to the cars, getting used to setup, and getting used to the track itself. Once we switch over to official qualifying for race positions, that'll happen at 8:30 Eastern. So they've just got about 2 minutes essentially before our admin will switch over the server into qualifying mode. So for those of you new to Imola, our driver is about to head into Variante Villeneuve, which is the Villeneuve chicane. The trick with all these chicanes on these Italian tracks is trying to find out the track limits, how far you can really track out before you hit the grass. So the server will impose penalties if you go 4 wheels off excessively. So like if you go full 4 wheels off in the grass, not only grass will slow you down, but you also get penalties. So our drivers don't want to push that hard either. Coming down into Acqua Minerali, this used to be actually a chicane, and a lot of drivers really hated it, so they converted it into essentially just a right sweeper. Going up the hill, and into the last chicane, Variante Alta. You'll see those yellow curbs there. Depending on how you hit them, it could send the car flying. Coming up the last straight, or second last straight I should say, before the final corner, Rivazza, which has 2 parts. Rivazza 1. And you'll notice on the right there's a large sand pit. If you underestimate your entry going in, into either turn really, Rivazza 1 or Rivazza 2, you're going to wind up in the sand and potentially lose a race there. So I expect some shenanigans towards the end there, towards the end of the race, and we'll see what happens. Alright, that's one lap around Imola with Val Di Pietro. Let's hop in with someone else. Here we are with Doug Newman. Doug's been with us almost since, I believe that's race number 2 or 3, and he's been really, really good. In fact, he won his first race at Silverstone last week, and really can give Val a good run for his money. Unfortunately, he joined the series late, so while he might not be able to fight for Val for the season's points, he should be able to give him a good run for his money on terms of the race points. So hopefully Doug can Doug and Jordan Mazugli can really give Val a good stiff race tonight. Coming down Pertella into Acqua Minerale. That's a nice, interesting wooden trim there on a Ferrari. Not too sure what Enzo would say about that one. Again, the track is named after Enzo and his son, and this is the home base for Scuderia Ferrari. So there's a lot of ties here with Ferrari, and it also made sense that our drivers who get to vote on the class of car voted for the Ferrari 458 GT2 class. So we gave them the GT2 Ferrari rather. It makes sense. Imola and Ferraris. Going up the front straight. Again, folks, for these just joining us, we're pretty much just about getting ready to switch over to official qualifying. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to event number 5 at Imola. Going into the first turn at Tamburello. This used to be that infamous left-hander where Senna lost his life, unfortunately. And so ever since then, they've had to change it into a chicane to really cut down that speed and add a lot of sand and gravel traps. Going through the Villeneuve chicane, or Variante Villeneuve. And going up the hill before going into Tosa corner, which is I would say the gentlest of all the corners, or Piratella rather, sorry. And going to Acqua Minerale. Watching out for those big black and yellow curbs. Those will send the car absolutely flying if you hit them way too aggressively. Given that this is a GT2 car, there's still a decent amount of suspension travel you'll see on these cars. So it's been from what I can tell from qualifying, a lot of drivers were having a hard time trying to figure out the setup on these cars. So we'll see if that hard work's paid off in qualifying and currently in practice as well. So we'll see we'll talk to our drivers at the end of the race and see what setup they used and how they tackled each of the corners. Get some insight for you folks there. Again, for those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Imola. Thank you for watching us, and thank you for keeping up with us for the entire season. We've had some great support. Thank you, Race Ready Powerhouse, for the emoji there. We love you too. And looks like Doug is just about ready to getting the pull off. We'll watch someone else for now. On board here with Mitch Morton. Ooh, nice interesting livery there. Again, for those of you new to the series, we're now accepting, or new to this event I should say, we're now accepting custom livery on all the cars. So a lot of our drivers, actually all our drivers, will be driving in custom Ontario Time Attack livery. I believe there are two drivers tonight. Two drivers tonight will be driving the Trackside Autosport livery. Oh, looks like a server just switched over into official qualifying mode. So now everything matters. So while looks like everyone's joined the server, so that's why the server switched over. So while we wait, while everyone just gets out from the grid, we will have a quick word from one of our sponsors.
All of those miles, all of those hours, the late nights, the planning, the preparation, they all come down to this. That one perfect lap. We'll build the car, you win the race.
For Mr. Alex Lee, Super Impreza in
NV Auto, building champions since 2010.
Welcome back, folks. So everyone's just still on their outlap. trying to get their times in for the official qualifying session. So we are currently in 15 minutes of qualifying time. So in 15 minutes, our drivers have the chance to put down their best lap time in order to determine their gridding position. So everyone's just warming up their cars, and then we'll see some lap times being posted on the left leaderboard there. For those of you just new joining to our series, welcome aboard to Ontario Time Attack's e-racing series, Overtake the Apex. This is event number 5 at Autodromo Enzo Idino de Ferrari, or also known as Imola. So we're on board here with Jason de Oliveira, going in through the Variante Alta. You'll notice that the curbing there is of the yellow and black type. Oh, looks like Jason kind of went a little off there. Again, there's sand traps on the outside, so he's probably lost a decent amount of speed. So this won't be a great start to his first lap. But we'll see. Again, that was just the out lap, so didn't really hurt anything. Yep, everyone's still on their out lap, so for those of you that missed the track introduction segment, Imola is one of the most infamous tracks because it did have one of the worst F1 days ever, essentially, with 3 crashes over the weekend and multiple injuries and 2 deaths. So to many race fans, myself included, this is a track where, to me, one of the best drivers that ever lived, Ayrton Senna, died. And there's been a lot of controversy and lots of films, lots of videos. You can look it all up about what necessarily caused death in terms of, some people say it was a steering column that's essentially shot through his helmet. Other people will say there's other causes, but I don't know. I'm not here to speculate. All I know is as a young fan growing up, F1 kind of died for me. Died a little bit when that happened. Real sad because he truly loved his driving and he was really good at it. From my perspective, I love my Hondas, and he's always forever tied to the first generation NSX. So everyone's always seen that video where he's driving around the NSX in loafers. So that to me just makes Imola brings back a lot of weird feelings, really. Even though I didn't know the guy, but he was just beloved by a lot of race fans. All right, so it looks like our drivers are finally posting up some times. Doug Newman currently holds the pole position at 1:44.447. But again, still plenty of time. There is 10 minutes and 19 seconds, or just over 10 minutes left in qualifying, so plenty of time for someone to put a better lap in. I believe someone was able to put a 1:43 at one point. Oh, we've got one car spun out, and thankfully he's not moving and getting anyone's way, so that's some good driver etiquette there. For those of you new to a series or Assetto Corsa, what you see in the middle of the screen there for a second there was a car radar. Because this is virtual racing, it's very difficult for our drivers to see what's around them necessarily, unless you have virtual reality or 3 monitors. So the radar app lets them show who's directly close by and how far they are and relative speeds as well. So really handy. Until we're allowed to go back to the track, this is as close as it'll get for them. Going through Acqua Minerale. Acqua Minerale used to be a really arduous chicane. A lot of drivers are complaining about it, so they wound up making it into a right-hander. Going into Variante Alta. Ooh, and he goes very sideways. Puts on a little bit of a donut for everyone to see. Let's hop in with someone else. On board here with Andrew Davis in a lovely red. Red always looks good on Ferrari. Going up the final front straight. So we'll get to watch a full lap by Andrew Davis. Coming up the first turn will be Tamburello, Variante Tamburello. It used to be the corner, a single left-hander sweeper, but they had to cut it down into a chicane to really cut down the speeds going through it. Into Villeneuve chicane, or Variante Villeneuve, named after Canadian driver Gilles Villeneuve. And going to Tosa corner. And then the slight uphill into the right-hander. Or the left-hander, rather, sorry. Piratella. The trick tonight here, folks, for most of the courses where you've got the chicanes, is finding out what the track limits really are. So you'll see guys really potentially diving out almost to the edge, right, almost in the sand pits, and trying to find that little bit of extra room where they can hit the gas earlier. However, these cars, these Ferrari 458 GT2s are mid-engine, so it's going to be tricky trying to balance both the mid-engine aspect of hitting the gas too early and losing the front-end grip versus trying to actually, power out of a turn as well. So, well, we'll talk to the drivers at the end of the race. Stick around. We will talk to them about their setups. We'll talk about how they handle the corners, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them on the chat. I do read the chat, so post some questions and we'll ask the drivers. Last week we had someone asking about their setups, so we can ask them that too. Valdipietro has currently taken pole with a minute 44.205. Valdipietro is our current series points leader, so that does matter. Oh, looks like Andrew may have gone a little hot there. Oh, Doug Newman has regained pole. Let's hop in with him with a minute 44.204, literally 0.001 seconds faster than Valdipietro. Well done, Doug. Well done. Doug Newman is driving that interesting skinned Ferrari with the fake wood paneling. I'm not too sure if I like that one. I'm not too sure if Enzo would like that either. You never know, Ferrari might come calling and ask us to take down this footage. They're very protective over their branding, so we'll see. Oh, no, Jordan Bazugli has topped Doug Newman now with a minute 44.014. Will we see a minute 43? It's quite possible. On board here with Doug Newman, we'll watch him see what his line is going through the corners. Going through all Variante Alta, full use of that curbing, of the yellow curbing, but got a little squirrely there on the exit. Welcome aboard, Alfredo Acosta. Thank you for joining us. Going through Rivazza. Again, Rivazza is a two-turn corner, so lost a little bit of time there on the middle section. And the second turn of Rivazza, and you notice there's sand pits along the outside, so not a good place to really be over-eager and then hit the gas and find out you're understeering. These are mid-engine cars, or mid-engine Ferraris, so if you hit the gas too early, it will lose grip on the front end drastically since there's no weight up there, and you'll understeer. Whoa, bit of a slide there, and Doug's probably going to call it quits on that one. Let's hop in with someone else. Miles Quartermine. Going through Piratella. Into Acqua Minerale. Acqua Minerale used to be a chicane, and a lot of drivers were complaining about how painful it was. So they wound up making it into a right-hander, or two small right-handers essentially. Into Variante Alta. Full use of the curb, and yep, tracking out all the way on exit. The key to tonight's chicanes is essentially trying to figure out what the track limits end, really. The more track you can use, the more speed you put down, but if you notice, a lot of them have sand pits on the outside, so it'll be really tricky to see what they can do. Good exit on Rivazza, too. Let's see, Miles' previous best was a minute 43.521. Oh, sorry, that's the Valdipietro's new time. Oh, Val DiPietro has hit a minute 43. Never mind. So we have, wow, Val really cut down his lap times by a lot. He was sitting just above a minute 44, so he's somehow managed to find half a second. Looks like Miles is deciding to change cars. Let's hop in with Chris Pazinski. Chris Pazinski is our real-life Ontario Time Attack 2019 champion. He's been the champion for actually since, oh boy, I should know this, I'm the chief timer. I think since for the last 3 years running. So, but this is his first time on the e-racing series with us, so we'll see how he does. Good exit through Villeneuve chicane, and going into driving the bright orange Tosa, bright orange Ferrari, going through Tosa, a little bit squirrely on exit there, but catches it well. Chris in real life drives a bright yellow Mustang GT, I believe, and for most part, it's 99.9% stock with essentially just the custom alignment, really, as far as I'm aware of, and bigger tires. Chris's previous best was a minute 46.115, so a little bit behind pace. But we'll see what he does in qualifying. There's still just under 2 minutes left in qualifying. Coming into Rivazza, first part of Rivazza. Ooh, good exit. Oh, it gets a little squirrely. Let's see if he beats his previous best of a minute 46.115. Coming down the front straight. Yeah, he gets a new new personal best and moves up to 15th place. Ooh, it has no regard for those yellow and black speed bumps. It doesn't seem to really affect him much. With just over a minute left, let's see if anyone changes spots in the qualifying. But Val DiPietro currently holds pole. Jordan Bazugli is almost a full half second behind him. And Doug Newman is just slightly behind Bazugli at 0.683 seconds behind Val. Oh, it looks like Doug Newman has joined the 43 club at a minute 43.972. Looks like Jordan Bazugli is also technically... Actually, no, Jordan Bazugli is not in the 43 club. Just at the 44, the low 44s. So there are two people currently in the minute 43 mark. With just over 10 seconds left in qualifying, will anyone be able to climb into the 43 club as well? Jordan Bazugli is chasing Val DiPietro in the series standings. He is in second place. Val does have a comfortable lead, but if Bazugli manages the podium and Val does not finish the race, there's still a very good chance that Bazugli could catch Val DiPietro. Looks like, yeah, everyone's pulling aside, essentially, because qualifying is pretty much over. We're currently in overtime. So, if everyone's doing a really hot lap right now, the server will not cut out on them, just to allow them to finish the lap. But I think everyone's just kind of coasting at this point to see... Oh boy, what's that? Everyone's just trying to coast, essentially, to see if they can just wait for everyone to finish and switch over to the first race. There are 2 races of the night. There'll be 15 minutes of race time. Oh, 15 minutes of race time, and race number 1. Race number 1's points are weighted more than race number 2. For race number 2, our top 10 in race number 1 will be reverse gridded to add some a little bit of spiciness there to the start. So, oh, looks like Brady C just posted a new personal best at a minute 45. 0.2 something, I believe. So there we go. We're officially switching over to the main race. Just a quick word from one of our sponsors.
Since 1945, Toyo Tires has been making quality products. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do. There's a Toyo adventure for those who dare to dream.
Looks like those tires are well tested.
Hey Matt, let's play!
For your drive, dare to dream. Toyo Tires.
Looks like we've got a car pulled over, but he's rejoined the track safely, thankfully. Jason De La Vera just climbed up a spot over Stefan Bullock, going into Rivazza. Let's see how this works out. Oh, he's following the car in front of him, and Stefan Bullock has retaken the lead, or retaken his position at number 5. That's the thing with Rivazza. If you go in too hot, you could wind up in the sandpits. Oh, it's right there. Looks like Daniel Sanbandes has climbed up to, has been fighting with, looks like that's in front of him is Justin L. So Sanbandes and Justin have been fighting it out. We'll see how this works out. Oh, it looks like Stefan Bullock has moved up another position. He's retaken his number 5 spot, looks like. Getting some good fights here on Imola. For those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari. Going into Paratella. Justin's going really wide there, making full use of the track. Daniel opted not to for some reason. Thought maybe Justin was probably going off track. Interestingly enough, though, Justin has the better exit, but is not really pulling away from Daniel Santibanez that much. Going into Variante Alta, looks like Daniel might just have caught up with Justin. Or not. So people have spread out themselves pretty good. Oh, no, looks like Jackson Oliveira, for some reason, is pulling over one side, wondering if he's got any car damage. There is a 50% car limit on the car damage, so no one should really be able to total the cars. But at the same time, oh, no, looks like Daniel Santibanez has hit the sandpits. As I mentioned before, Rivazza has sandpits on the exit, so you gotta be careful going in too hot into Rivazza. It is really tempting, though. It is the last corner of the track. Let's hop in with Michael Puchik, who's been fighting it out with Stefan Bullock. Sorry, Nicholas Hall, I saw you mentioned that you can't hear us. You can't hear me. Sorry, I had a bit of a technical issue there with my mic. You should be able to hear me now. Oh, looks like Imani is right behind. Yeah, Imani Makalad is right behind Michael Puchik. This is going to be an interesting battle there. Michael may not have realized Imani caught up to him. Last I checked, Imani is running on a joypad, or a gamepad rather, and as opposed to a wheel, which most of our competitors have. Let's go on the chase cam and watch Imani do his magic. Going into Variante Alta, let's see how he handles it. Full mount of the curb, and really beautifully overtakes Michael Puchik. Connor Riley, yeah, perfect. Thanks for confirming. So he is still on the... That was a beautiful overtake by Imani. Couldn't have written it better. Going to Ravaza. Careful entry. Full use of the exit curbing. Again, the trick with Ravaza is you want to step on the gas, but if you hit on it too early, you wind up in the sand pits. Yeah, it's pretty savage, Patrick, there with Imani with the controller. You watch his inputs, it's very, very smooth. So he's managed to climb up into 6th place. I don't think he was in the... full mounting of the curb. Beautiful exit. But Puchik stays with him. Let's watch from the outside view. Oh no, Imani has gone slightly off track there. That's cost him some time. Nick Hall, you asking him for his controller settings. That's a good idea. I'll actually take note of that. And make sure, stick around for the driver's interview. We'll ask Imani what his control settings are. So that point taken. We'll definitely ask Imani that. So Michael Puchik is really chasing down. Let's hop in on board with Michael Puchik. Right up behind Imani. This is going to be... And now, looks like Jason L, I believe that's behind him. Yeah, Justin L is right behind him. So this is a three-way battle for 6, 7, 8, folks. Going into Variante Alta. Let's see if... oh, no, Imani made a mistake, and Michael Puchik followed him, so nothing lost there. Going into the last corner, Ravaza, two-turn corner. So there's Ravaza 1, Ravaza 2. Everyone's kept it clean. Nobody's hit the sand pits. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting fight here, folks. Let's keep an eye. Let's keep watching this. Well, we're getting a lot of battles down here on the bottom. Let's hop in with them. This is Philip Oliveira. This is a good... Ooh. 6 cars in very close proximity with each other. So let's watch this. Philip Oliveira is driving the wonderfully liveried Flowers 458. Might be a good battle here going on for the 10th position here. From Sam Sousa all the way down to essentially Adrian Cezinaro. It's within reach. Folks, if you have any questions you want to ask the drivers, feel free to post them on the chat, and I will try my best to ask them towards the end of the stream. Oh, it looks like Chris Pazinski's made a mistake. Andrew David had taken him on the inside rather. Now finishes the overtake on the outside of Tosa. So there we go. We've got our... It's a good thing I kept an eye on this section. Let's watch Chris Pazinski. Chris Pazinski is the current Ontario Time Attack champion. But this is his first time with us on the e-racing series. So, it's gone wide, and now Philip Oliveira takes him on the left. Gonna be interesting going to Aqua Minerale. Yep, he concedes the position in a very clean fashion. But Philip has made a mistake. Oh no! But Chris has also made a mistake. So let's hop in with Cezinaro, who is now taking advantage of that and hopped up 2 places, past Philip and Chris. It's a good battle going on here, and from 11th place to 15th. For those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Imola, folks. This is our 5th out of 6 events. So next week is Sebring International Raceway, where points gathered here was really going to matter to who finishes in the top 5 and even the top 10 of the season. It's been a fantastic season. Thank you very much for watching us. Thank you for all your support. This couldn't have happened really this well. It's our first time doing online race series, let alone streaming, so it's been fantastic to see all your involvement. Thank you very much, folks. So we're still watching Adrian Cesanaro. He's being hunted down by Mitch Morin and Miles Quartermine. Daniel Santabanez has just lost a spot to Miles Quartermine, so who jumped up to 15th place. The top 3 is actually kind of boring. Valtteri Pietro, who started in pole, has held first place. Jordan Bozzogni started in 2nd, and Doug Newman started in 3rd. So those 3 are still kind of boring to watch, actually. So we'll just watch the fights happening down here. Let's see. They're really at this point with the gapping. Oh, looks like we're going into Acqua Minerale, and Mitch Morin has overtaken Mitch Morin has overtaken Adrian Cesanaro on the outside into Acqua Minerale beautifully. That was a wonderful pass there. But going into Variante Alta, let's see. Oh no, looks like Mitch has really gapped himself from Adrian. But now, Miles Quartermine is really hunting down Adrian, so let's see what happens. Oh, taking the outside. A little bit of contact, but they managed to pull through. Yeah, it looks like Miles may have taken the worst of that, having to ride the outside and went to the dirt. And Daniel Santabanez hops into the fight. But looks like Miles may have the better exit speed and is slowly gaining on... Nope, Daniel's holding on to it. So they're going into Tamburello. Oh, Miles is taking the outside. They're going too wide into Tamburello, and Miles has to hold off the outside. So Daniel holds the line and makes it through cleaner. Going up the hill. That is Tosa. Folks, there's just under 3 minutes left in this race. 3 minutes left to go in this race. Oh, Daniel goes really wide, and that really loses a lot of speed. So now Miles Quartermine is really hunting him down, going through Acqua Minerale, taking the inside. And oh no, Miles has made a mistake on the exit, and Daniel pulls away from him. Now Daniel's really starting to cut down into Adrian's laps. So let's see, with just over 2 minutes left to go, if Daniel can climb one more position up. Going through Ravaza 1. Very tempting corner. Oh no, Daniel's hit the sand pits. So that's cost him his exit. But I think Adrian may have gone in a little too conservatively. So Daniel really hasn't lost that much, if anything, to Adrian. Oh no! Looks like we're having a fight in 6th to 7th place. Stefan Bullock is chasing down Justin L, who's chasing down Imani. This might be a great finish, folks. So let's stick with this and watch the 5, 6, 7 fight out. Oh no! Stefan goes really sideways. All right, we'll hop into Imani and watch the race from the rear, actually. So, pretty decent gap there between Justin L and Stefan Bullock. Going through Acqua Minerale. Bit of damage there on Imani's car. Going down into Variante Alta. Keeping it very clean, Imani. Nice, very clean exit. Question is now with this last lap, or second last lap rather, can Imani hold on to 5th? Second part of Ravaza, and he keeps it clean. Beautiful exit. Yep, and he's holding on to that gap between from Justin L to Stefan Bullock. Going to Tamburello. Yep, clean entry and exit. Beautiful. Beautiful work there by Imani Makalad. So far he's managed to hold on to that gap between Justin L and Stefan Bullock. Again, it's very amazing, very clean work using a controller pad, folks. So, yep, leaders on the final lap. So that means Val Di Pietro has initiated the final lap countdown. So if our drivers can hold their positions, this is where they will finish the race. Going into Piratella. Clean exit. Wow, using full use of that track out. And going to Aqua Minerale. And whoa! Really catching a little bit of a slide there on the outside, but perfectly manages to keep it on the track as opposed to into the sand pits. So beautiful work there by Imani. Going to Variante Alta. And now coming down the mini straight before hitting Ravaza. And looks like Imani's gonna head down that front straight and finish the race in 5th place. There you go, folks. Your top 5 are currently sitting at Val Di Pietro, Jordan Bazugli, Doug Newman, Joseph Yang, Imali Maklad, Justin L, Stefan Bullock. That looks like Jason De Oliveira, Sam Sousa is finishing 9th, and Mitch Morin has finished 10th. There you go. There's your top 10, folks. So just to recap, Val Di Pietro starts in pole, finishes in 1st. Jordan Zugli, Doug Newman, those are our top 3 who are actually in qualifying. Followed by Joseph Yang. Imani Maklad climbs up, way up into 5th. And followed by Justin L, Stefan Bullock, Jackson De Oliveira, followed by Sam Sousa, and Mitch Morin. Now we're going to get ready to start race number 2, in which the top 10 we just saw just now are going to be reverse gridded. So now Mitch Morin starts in 1st place. So let's get ready. And we're off. Oh, looks like we had Adrian may have been caught up a little bit of traffic there. But otherwise, fairly clean start. Oh no, we've got some issue there going through the straight there. Not sure what happened. But going into Tamburello, pretty clean so far. Hopping on board here with Imani Makalad. So he finished 5th and starts in 5th because the second race, the top 10 from the race number 1 is reverse gridded. So Imani doesn't really lose anything by finishing in 5th. And might actually have a chance to climb into the easier time to climb into the top 3. For this race. Oh, it looks like, not sure what's going on with Mitch Morin. His car completely came to a dead stop there. So that pushes up Imani into Makalad into 4th. It's a tight race going on there in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, really. Oh no, Imani hits the sand pits. Good conga line forming up now. So faster with the faster drivers in the back, that's compressing a lot of traffic. We'll see how our winners from the last race wind up doing in this one. Getting quite the battle happening on in 13th to 14th. Let's hop in with Paul Todd and see how he's doing. Him and Joseph Yang have been fighting it out. Joseph Yang is driving the custom livery, Trackside Autosport Ferrari 458 GT2. Ontario Time Attack is accepting custom livery, so if you want to join us and drive whatever car you want to look, so send it to us, hop in with us, and have fun. We have one more event left to go next week at Sebring International Raceway. It looks like Val Di Pietro has overtaken Paul Todd here. Paul made a few mistakes in the last couple of turns, so Val's capitalized on that and jumped in. Let's see if Val Di Pietro manages to get up over Joseph Yang. Going into Paratella. Full use of the curb on exit. Going to Acqua Minerale. Ooh, good use of the curb again. Looks like he's chopped up some distance there between him and Joseph Yang. Now going into Variante Alta. Full mount of that curb. A little bit wiggly there on the exit. Had to do a bit of counter steer, and Joseph Yang pulls away slightly. Jordan Mazzugli just set the fastest race lap at 1:45. So Sam Sousa is still in first place, but there's just under 11 minutes to go. So there's still plenty of time for things to. A lot of things can happen. Ooh, locking up the tires a little bit there into Tamburello, but Val has managed to chip away at Joseph Yang and close that gap a little bit more. Everyone's kind of settled into their race positions. Looked like Jordan Mazzugli has just made a move and moved up to 7th place over Miles Kornmine. So let's hop in with Miles to see what happened there. Ooh, Jordan may have just made a mistake, and Miles may have just. Yep, Miles. Nope. Jordan Mazzugli just. Yep. Retook his position. So there's a good battle between Daniel Santabanez, Jordan Mazzugli, and Miles Kornmine. Yep, got a good fight going on there. Miles is right behind Daniel Santabanez. So let's watch this fight here. Folks, if you have any questions you want to ask to the drivers at the end of the race, feel free to type them away at the live comments. I'll be sure to try to ask them about it. So far, the only question I've got is asking Imani about his controller settings. So feel free to interact with us on the chat. Where'd Miles Kornmine decided to pit. May have suffered some damage there to his car. So, unfortunately, that takes out a little bit of the battle here. But let's see if Daniel Santabanez can chase down Jason Mazzugli. Or Jordan Mazzugli, rather. Oh, Jordan's really pulling away. Jordan is one of the faster qualifying guys. So if he's got some clean track in front of him, he has a good chance of pulling away from yeah, and he pulls in front of Michael Puchik on the outside of Tosa, looks like. Going into Paratella. Oh no! A little bit too hot there, Michael Puchik. And Jordan is now pulling ever so slightly away. Jordan might actually catch Imani, so let's hop in with Jordan Buzugli. There goes Imani, Jordan, and Michael Puchik. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Jordan had to pull over. Must be serving a penalty of some sorts. So not sure what happened there. Ooh, Dennis and Abundance tries to take the inside, but Buzugli closed the door on him. Let's on board now here with Imani Makalad, chasing down Stefan Bullock, and who's DE? Oh, Jason De Oliveira. So Sam Sousa is still holding on to his first place position, followed by Sam Sousa and Stefan Bullock. And Imani has moved up from his starting position of fifth place into fourth. Ooh, really hunting down Stefan Bullock there. Gotta be careful with the exit on Tosa. You don't want to understeer out into that sand pit. Ooh, going in hot into Paratella. And early on the gas. But works for him. Going to Aqua Minerali. Very tricky corner here, so. And full use of that track out. Whereas Stefan did not, but manages to still hold on to his gap there with Imani. With just over 6 minutes, there's still plenty of time for positions to be lost here. So while this is still holding on to a stalemate, let's have a quick word from one of our sponsors.
Where there's NASCAR, there's Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. From Rusty Wallace's number 27 car to Kevin Harvick's number 4 car and beyond, Mobil 1 engine oil set the pace for performance. That's why Mobil 1 is the official motor oil of NASCAR, and why Mobil 1 technology is used by 50% of teams competing in NASCAR's top 3 National Touring Series. Because when 40 stock cars are running flat out for 500 miles, engine protection and power matter more than ever. And that means long-lasting protection on the road. From their engines to yours.
Welcome back, folks. So nothing's really changed since we last left Imani. He's still chasing down Stefan Bullock and Jackson De Oliveira in second place. But Michael Puchik has slid down a position, and Buzugli has moved up into the top 5 again. So on board here with Michael Puchik, who just got overtaken by Jordan Buzugli. Santabanez still holds on to 7th. Sir Snake, you asked the question, how did they go about finding and setting up their cars? Research or experimentation? So I know part of the answer to that. Some of the drivers do follow some posted theoretical best setups on a set of Corsa forums. So they do play around with that in qualifying and in the practice session. But I can ask them again today if they've done any further experimentations, or are they just driving stock vehicles? Oh no, Jordan Buzugli has made a fatal mistake and gone sideways, and now Michael Pucci takes advantage of that and gets back into 5th. Daniel Santabanez takes advantage of that mistake and moves up into 6th. Sometimes the thing with racecraft, folks, it's not about necessarily being outright faster, it's about holding a consistency and never giving up. In that case, Daniel Santabanez, who was trailing Jordan Buzugli for a while there, finally manages to get a few positions. Folks, for those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 5 at Imola, Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari. This is event 5 of 6 of Ontario Time Attack's e-racing series. Thank you for all your support. There is just under 4 minutes left in this race. Sam Sousa is still holding on to first place, followed by Jackson De Oliveira, and then Stefan Bullock, Imani Makalad, And on board here with Michael Puchik in 5th. The race is kind of settled out now. Nothing's really changing much in the standings. So let's hop on board with Stefan Bullock, who's in a three-way fight between Jackson De La Vera and Imani Bacalad behind him. And Sam Sousa is within sight, actually, so this is going to be an interesting finish going into the last 2 laps, perhaps. Going into Ravaza is an interesting corner because there's 2 parts of it, and both of them have sand traps on the outside edge. So with these big mid-engine cars, you hit the gas a little too early, that front end goes really light and you lose all that grip. Oh no, Sam Sousa's somehow really slowed down. I'm not sure what's going on there. Did he get a track penalty, or that's unfortunate for Sam. He was leading for so long. Again, the key thing with racecraft is you got to be patient. You can't give up. And with that, Jackson De La Vera takes 1st place. Currently, with just over 2 minutes left to go in the quite possibly the last lap or the second last lap. Sam managed to cling on to 4th place. Not sure what happened there. Most likely a automatic penalty. I believe this game does give you a heavy penalty if you go 4 wheels off on certain sections of the track. But I'm not sure exactly where that occurred for Sam Sousa. So Justin Prasad says, keep it sharp, Stefan Bullock. Let's hop in with him, actually, see how he's doing. I don't see him on the standings here. Oh, never mind. We're on board with Stefan Bullock. Never mind. He's got to keep it sharp because Imani is right there behind him, and Sam's actually invisible distance behind them. So one small mistake by these 3, and Sam might just easily take back his 1st place. Going in through Ravaza, really tight train now. Traffic's really compressing. This will likely be, they'll be probably initiating the last lap. Or second last lap, looks like. So the clock's still counting down, so drivers are probably on their second last lap. Jackson De Oliveira is currently in 1st, followed by Stefan Bullock, and Imani really closing in the gap on Stefan now. Let's hop in with Imani and see what he's looking at, trying to overtake Stefan. Really close now, trying to use that draft effect. Going into, tries to dive in on Tosa, but not enough speed there. But Stefan may have made a mistake on entry, and Imani's managed to keep up with him. Yeah, folks, we are on our last lap. So, takes the inside on Piratella and manages to keep it clean. Wow, great job. Great job by both drivers, really. Stefan in recognizing Imani's there, and Imani in holding it. This is the last lap, folks, so if there's going to be a move made, it's going to be happen here. Going into Variante Alta with Sam Sousa really pushing Imani right in the back there. Looks like Sam had more speed than Imani because he had to wiggle and kind of lose the speed there. In the last corner, Ravaza, will there be a move? Imani tries to hold the speed on the outside. Oh, Stefan really kind of brake checks Imani and pulls away, unfortunately. There you have it, folks. Jackson De Oliveira wins race number 1. Stefan Bullock finishes in 2nd, and Imani Bacalad in 3rd, rather. Sam Sousa finishing 4th. Michael Puchik Jordan Mazzugli unfortunately falls down into 6th. Valti Pietro holds 7th. Danielson Bonas 8th. Joseph Yang in 9th. And Justin L in 10th. There's your top 10, folks. Don't forget, folks, we have drivers' interviews. So if you have any questions, please post them on the comments, and we'll be glad to ask them to the drivers. So the server will be switching over to the standings, and we can ask them that. All right. While we do that, let's have a quick video on what Ontario Time Attack is while I round up our drivers for interviews.
Time affects our lives, shapes our future, and defines our world. Every hour, every minute, every second. But in Time Attack, it's hundredths of a second that matter. Separating first place from the pack, the winner from the could-have-beens. Originating on the racetracks of Japan, Time Attack has grown into one of the most important and exciting motorsports available today. The goal is to set the fastest lap time on the racecourse using any vehicle, balancing engine power and reliability with driver skill and courage.
When you're in the car, the G-forces are phenomenal. You've got to balance the car properly. You're always pushing for that extra tenth of a second.
Ontario's premier Time Attack series holds events across the province each summer. Morning practice followed by competition runs all afternoon. 3 grueling time sessions.
We are on track with other cars, but we're not actually racing that car. We're always racing the clock. So you're out there all day, essentially to just bust off one really fast lap.
Each class has a technical spec, from stock street-legal cars to those with high-performance brakes and tires, all the way up to fully modified or prepped racing machines. With vehicle differences out of the equation, it's down to driver nerves and technique to seal the final outcome. Without distracting wheel-to-wheel competition, lap times are usually faster than the race divisions. But the biggest wow factor? When a racer lays down a lap time that not only beats competitors in his own class, but blows the doors off the classes above him.
A big part of it is the speeds you get up to. The back straight at Mosport, you're going over 200 kilometers an hour. When you get to that corner at the end, you know you got to take that corner at 140 kilometers an hour or you're going to be falling behind.
Every lap counts, every corner counts. Your laps have to be very consistent.
In Time Attack, you're always pushing, testing the car and yourself, like driving a never-ending qualifying lap. One mistake, and your time session's over in the blink of an eye. Time rules all of our lives, but on the track, it's your job to beat time. Are you up to it? Experience Time Attack. Breathe it. Live it.
All right, welcome back, folks. We are here with the drivers, going to talk about exactly what happened in the main race. So, what happened on the start of race number 2? Because it looks like you guys had a good launch, and then halfway down before hitting the Tamburello, there was an incident going all sideways going before Tamburello, actually.
I wish I knew. I got a really good start in 10th, and I was gaining on the 2 positions in front of me, and I thought we were all going to drive straight. So I went 3 wide, and then for some reason there was contact. Either I moved a few millimeters, the person on my right moved a few millimeters, but they got turned in front of me, and then mayhem.
Yeah, it was a bit of mayhem, but Stefan and Imani, you guys had a crazy battle in Variante Alta, and you tried to take the outside. Actually, Imani tried to take the inside, Stefan was in the outside on the first left-hander, and then you guys almost made contact. Did you guys actually hit each other? It looked really tight.
I know for sure that when I was trying to go for the overtake, I knew I wasn't really going to get the exit speed, so I kind of just backed out halfway through at the apex, and I just thought to myself, it's not worth trying to get contact. I just figured I'd just let him pass again.
Yeah, because Sam was right behind you too. Sam, what happened there? You were leading the race for most part of it, and then you just suddenly slowed down on the front straight. Was there a penalty issue or something? Is Sam here? Oh. Sam. Oh, okay. I guess he's not responding, but...
Am I...
Oh, there he is. Are you going to push to talk?
Samuel, push to talk. Oh, here, let me turn it off.
But yeah, that was unfortunately was a unfortunate incident because Sam was keeping it clean, and then I just suddenly saw him really slow down, and not sure what the heck happened there. I thought he was pitting initially, but he just pulled over to the side and just really slowed down.
Hey, sorry, I fixed the push to talk. My bad.
No worries.
Yeah,
What?
I caught a penalty. Just I don't know, I forgot what corner it was, but yeah, I caught a penalty, and then I didn't wait enough. Like it hit the 0, and then I pressed the gas too soon, so it restarted. So that was like 10 seconds total. Hate when that happened.
Oh, man.
But yeah, then I just lost it from there. Still a really good race though.
Yeah, you were really trying to push Imani and Stefan, but I could see because you're really hunting them down. But there's just simply no room left in the last 3 corners that you really caught up to them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, race number 2, like Val. So you just got caught and got knocked off track because you normally wind up managing to climb back up, but this time around.
So I don't like. I felt so bad about going 3 wide and causing an incident that I just legit stopped on the track and made sure every single person got a chance to go by me again. And then I just raced from there.
Nice. But folks, we have questions from our viewers. So the number 1 question, and Imani, you get the landslide vote here. What controller settings are you running with that? I guess what controller are you using? You're not using a wheel, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not using a wheel. I'm currently using a PS4 controller. Like I had to spend some time adjusting the steering filter and the steering filter settings, and because with the PS4 controller, you don't get the opportunity to adjust things like your wheel return speed, feed speed. So the steering tends to be really jittery. So I mean, it kind of works out in some cars, not so much for like different applications. Let's say drifting, but it works all right with track racing. So.
It worked fantastic because there were several times where you were exiting. I think it was Variante Alta, and and several of the chicanes where on exit you had some really nice catches on the drifts, a little bit, just ever so slightly.
Yeah, I did have to raise my traction control on the car just because if you decide to really stamp on it and then really kick the traction control, then it kind of reduces that chance of over spinning the back tires and having it step out on you. But it really kind of punishes you though if you lift way too much off the throttle.
That actually leads to my next question from the viewers. Number 1 question they had, number 2 question they had was, how did you guys determine the car setup? Now I know most of you guys aren't actually running the stock setup, right?
Yeah, so I guess the main thing to do is when you're checking a setup, like it's great in terms of a Assetto Corsa because there's so many people that play it. Like the first thing I do is when there's a car and a track combination, I'll try to look to see what hot laps other people have done and what their setups were, just to give myself kind of a point of reference to work from. So I found like a setup that some dude did like I don't know, like a 130, 144, something like that to start with. So I downloaded that setup just so you have a base point for that specific track, right? Because the stock Assetto setups, especially for the GT cars, they're very safe. They're good general purpose for all tracks, but if you really want to get the most out of them, you need to tweak them for each specific circuit, right? So basically for the 458 GT2 specifically, there's a lot of front lockup because there's no ABS, and it's very easy to overwhelm the front tires. So starting with that setup I downloaded, I basically just sent more brake bias to the rear, like just a little more rear bias, just to give myself more, steady, stable braking, and I could actually like keep the braking pressure kind of all the way down. I didn't have to modulate as much. And then additionally just tire pressures, just to keep heat in the tires through the corners, because this track has a lot of straights, it's pretty hard to keep the heat in the tires, at least the stock settings.
Yeah. Any other comments by any of the other drivers? That was Jordan Bruzugli, by the way, for our viewers.
Regarding setups, one thing that people I'd probably suggest pay really close attention to is in the game there's a setting in the Assetto config that allows you to use developer apps, and those developer apps contain they contain a lot of telemetry, like for example, tire temperatures on various portions of any given tire, your suspension, suspension articulation. That stuff really helps out when you're trying to set up a car too, especially when you want to do a specific thing.
Yeah, especially manually, because like you can see, like if you're going over a certain corner, is your suspension bottoming out, you know, and then you can kind of make damping adjustments, things like that. It's very, very handy.
Now, in terms of the actual car, so we talked about the car setup and your control settings. How was the actual track itself? I don't think actually good chunk of everyone here actually hasn't driven on Imola, right? If I recall correctly.
Yeah, I don't really like most of the time whenever I'm playing and doing circuit racing. I tend to just hop on the Nürburgring just because it's a bigger track. You spend more time per lap.
You know, I have a little bit of experience with Imola, and even still, it's like I think everybody will agree. It's not that, let's say, technically complex, but it's just very hard to have a consistent lap all the way through. You know, you might be really fast in one section, but then, you know, you'll screw up a braking point, or you'll get up on the AstroTurf, which is really, really slippery on this track on the outside, and then your time's gone. So it's like it just requires a lot of patience. I know, like even like on my lunch today, just taking a break, like I just jumped in to do a little bit of extra practice before the race, just to get that consistency. Because this is one of those tracks, it's very difficult to be consistent.
And Imani, we've got a question from Miles. He's asking if you want a Rusky.
Of course I want a Ruski.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Answer the question. The next thing I have for you guys is, so for next week for our track for the audience, we've got a special guest who's going to go take us through track turn by turn on Sebring International Raceway, which is going to wrap up our end of the season. And so I'm going to essentially try to ask you guys to try to guess who he is. So I'll give you two clues. He's Canadian and he's a former IndyCar driver from the early '90s. So and we'll post a picture of him with his face blacked out on the Instagram and Facebook for our viewers, so at least you guys can try to help identify who it will be. And he's given us almost 40 minutes of an interview when I asked, actually almost an hour. I had to trim it down when I actually asked him for just half an hour. So he's a great guy too.
Are we allowed to ask for hints?
You can ask for hints. We will
was
be
the sponsor when he was in the car?
Oh no, that's okay. That's giving away a little too much. That's giving away a little too much.
Greg Moore.
1990. I'll give you the within a 4-year gap. So 1990, 1994.
I'll have to Wikipedia that later.
I have Wikipedia open here, and I
crap.
Hey,
don't bust the secret just yet. But just think about it, and then we'll try to tease the viewers.
We'll do some research. We'll mull it over.
Yeah, mull it over. But anyways, I hope you guys had a fun race. Thanks for joining us. It looks fairly clean actually. Hopefully Joe won't have to do much review this weekend. But we'll go from there.
I had a great time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. I'm gonna call it a little bit. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's the end of event number 5. Don't forget, we have a very special guest that we just talked about appearing in our season finale next week at Sebring International Raceway. With plenty of experience on Sebring as a driver, this Canadian is also a former IndyCar driver and has graced us with a lot of secrets of Sebring. So much, in fact, we actually have to start a stream slightly earlier than normal. I mentioned that I asked for just half an hour of his time, and he graced me with almost a full hour of wonderful facts about Sebring. So I'm actually going to wind up starting the stream at around 7:45-ish. I'll post it on Facebook and Instagram. Can you guess who the driver is? Comment on the video below and follow us on Instagram and Facebook to find out. Thanks for watching, everyone, and don't forget us a like and smash that subscribe button and follow us for future streams and videos. Be sure to hit the bell button to receive notifications on when we have new content. So see you next week. Good night and stay awesome.